So loops are certainly a popular feature in programs like Garageband and many other DAWs. But the problem with loops is that they tend to either be very static or feel somewhat limited in terms of what musical information that they initially give you. So this project is basically to show you a way that you can get more musical control over what a loop can do. It's not the same, obviously, as making your own loop, which is always preferred, but it does give you the ability to create backing tracks that are more in line with what you want and less restricted by whatever's just built into the system you're using. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to find a loop. Now you can do what I'm about to show you in pretty much any style with any instrument. But just for the sake of this example, I'm going to pick left coast piano. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, this will work. What matters here is that it's an instrument that you have playing chords of some kind. You can do this, like I said, with any instrument, with any loop, but just for the sake of this example, make sure the first time you do this, it's something that's playing chords, which in this case we do have. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this loop, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to literally loop it a whole bunch of times. So I've got 16 measures of this right now. And if I play it through, it's just a repetition. It's kind of cool, but it's not going anywhere musically right now. It's just repeating over and over again. I'd like to give it a more musically defined role. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here to track, and I'm going to go to transposition track. Right here, this show transposition track. And now I have this extra element here at the top. I'm going to move the piano loop higher so that you can see what happens a little easier. And you'll notice there's plus 12, 0, and minus 12. So that has to do with what are called half steps. And these deal with, it's kind of like frets. Every fret is a half step. So 0 is play it exactly where it is. If I go up 1, it's going to raise it 1 half step, 2 half steps. If I choose 2, 3, if I choose 3 half steps, and so on. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to have this change its chordal structure every measure. I'm going to leave it at 0 for the first measure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click here and create another dot for the second measure. And I'm going to create another dot right on the third measure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and raise it up 5 half steps. Now I happen to know that this is also a perfect fourth, but check out what happens now when I play it. So I'm changing the chords. Instead of just playing 1 through, it's changing other things. How about if I lower it 5 now? And check this out. I now have a 1, 4, 1, 5 chord progression. Back to the 1. Okay, so it's a little artifacty and it's not great, but you get the idea. Check this out. If I go in now and let's say I don't want to use piano for everything. Let's say I want to do a bass line with it. So why would this matter? So let's take this bass. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, that's perfect. It's nice and easy here. Sorry, I pressed the wrong thing. Here is my bass line. And you'll notice that when I loop this one out, it's going to also transpose it just like it transposed the piano track. See how they match? They line up. Anything I put on here that is melodic, I suddenly have a backing track. Instead of just being, if I start this at measure 9, and it just keeps playing it, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's very drone-like. It doesn't really give me the musical information that maybe the song I'm writing requires. Come in and let's say, find ourselves a drum track. And all of a sudden now, I got a backing track. And it's my chords doing what I want them to do. It's a pretty powerful feature in GarageBand. If I don't like my chord progression, I can change it. Maybe I decided, you know what, I want to do 2 measures of the 1 chord, and then I'm going to do the 4 chord, a quick 5 chord, and back to 1. So now I have a different chord progression. So maybe I like that. So maybe I'll go ahead and use that. I like it so much, in fact, that maybe I want to copy it. So I'm going to copy it and duplicate it. And now I have it twice. And if I want, I can even do things like adding in my arrangement like we were doing earlier. So now at the beginning here, I've got my first 4 measures. And let's say that that first 4 measures I'm going to call verse 1. And then I go in here and I label this. And it's the second 4 measures of verse number 2. So verse 1, V1, verse 2 right there. And I can start building my backing track however I want to build it, whatever I want it to do. I'm organized. I can be in control. It's not just loops being layered and layered and layered. I'm actually controlling the chord progression. And just go from there. Hope that helps you. Hope that gives you some more creative options. And I'm excited to hear what you can create with this additional resource that you have in this case in GarageBand. We'll get to some other DAWs and their abilities to do very similar features as well very, very soon.